Hi, this is Carolina, the Soul Coach. Welcome to my podcast. Hello and welcome to Sunday Catchup podcast. How are you and how has your week been? I hope it's been a good one. What you been doing? What's been happening? Have you taken some time out for you, which is the theme of this week's podcast, all about you and your self-care. When was the last time you took some time out just for you? Purely, selfishly for you. To recharge your batteries, to recharge your energies, and to give your mind a break. That's exactly what we did this week. I really was feeling the need. We needed a few days off, and luckily we had it in the diary to have some time out. So we went to Portsmouth, old Portsmouth, and love it there. I've been so many times, and we thought, where do we want to go? And we thought we just want to go there. It's a beautiful place where we stay. And there's always so much to do, and it's a perfect place for just chilling as well. It's really interesting where we stay because it's right at the entry point for the docks at Portsmouth, old Portsmouth. So there's so many boats that come in and out, yachts and naval ships and cruise liners and ferries, and so it's really interesting. And there's always a group of young lads doing fishing. So we watch them and their glee of catching the fish and then putting it back into the ocean, into the sea. So yeah, that's been our week. It's just good to take time out with each other as well. Will and I try and spend as much time as we can going for a walk or going out, but I don't think we hadn't done it for a little while, and so we're just working really hard. And you know, when it's like excuse the pun, passing ships in the night, and it's just good to catch up and just to reflect and to reconnect and recharge. And I think it's really important for our self-care to do that independently and together with your partner, or you know, with a loved one or a friend. It's good to have the combination of both, I think. And it's how we get that self-care, isn't it? Because there's many ways. We don't just have to go away for the self-care. We can do it by just having a bath. You know, if we're busy and we don't have much time, do we take time out for a beautiful bath where we might light a candle, or we put a bath bomb in it, or have some bubble bath, or just some Himalayan salt, and just kind of relax and completely give into the whole experience of having a bath. I always find that very relaxing. I think for me, what I find I have a bath for is for clearing my aura with the Himalayan salt. And how I best recharge is walking. I really find that helps me massively. Just walking to work, being out in nature and really connecting to the trees, the sky, the clouds, the flowers, the grass, and just it really helps me come into the moment and helps to ground me, and that really helps with my self-care. But there are all sorts of things that we can do, isn't there? What do you do for self-care? How do you take time out for you, just for you, to recharge? Because we're always giving out, aren't we? And then we're running on empty, and that's fine. Like, we can keep giving, but then at some point we're just gonna collapse. And so the trick, I think, is to build in the self-care, even though we may not be feeling it, and we're on fire, and we're energized, and we're killing it really, and we're doing great. But then, and it's kind of doing it before we get to that point of, I can't do it anymore, because that's what happened last week, my brain just couldn't think anymore. It literally had given up, and just needed to switch it off. So yeah, that's the key, isn't it? It's building that regular self-care. And what I hadn't been doing, because I've been so busy, was doing the walking to work, and I know I need to do that. So that's going to be right up there on my list, is to start walking to work. We did loads of walking when we were away. And also, just having time out with your loved one, your partner, just husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. Just to reconnect and recharge, because you kind of get time to talk about the things that you don't have time to talk about. And me and Will love talking about stuff that we like to do together, and to remember the adventures and to remember the fun times we had, and then discuss things about the future and what our plans are, and just taking that time out. And then we have free time where we do kind of, we might do some reading, or we catch up with something. As you know by now, my favourite soap is Casualty, and so I caught up with half an episode of that, I think, but was mainly listening to podcasts, and I'm listening to the Stephen Bartlett one at the minute with Simon Cowell, and I'm finding that really inspiring. And so that's as I say, that's really inspiring, and that's what I'm really enjoying. And I think that's a bit of self-care as well, is just taking some time out to listen to some good food for our brain. So, and Simon Cowell's life was fascinating. He really is living a life of magic, but it didn't come easy for him. He had to really work for it and fight it. And so his podcast really very interesting. So just this week thinking about self-care and taking time out for ourselves. And one of the things, when Will and I were away, we were actually reflecting on now, like how we got to where we are today, and the twists and the turns. I mean, there's a lot of decisions that we've made and choices we've made over the years, ever since we were young. And what we were saying that was really interesting, even though there was some choices that we made that with hindsight and with age and wisdom, we may have made different choices, and they may not have helped us financially or as together as a couple, as you heard from the love story one about some of the choices we made. However, even with those choices and even with those decisions that we made that at the time were painful decisions and were wrong decisions, actually everything that has happened, every single choice, every single twist and turn, every single little thing has led us to now, this moment. And when we kind of realised that, we were walking hand in hand on the beach, listening to the waves, waiting for the rain because it looked like it was going to rain, really windy, we'd walked loads, we were hungry and we're thirsty, blah, 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 blah. But yet the sun was also shining as well as the clouds. It was like, it's been such mixed weather, hasn't it? And it was just like a perfect moment. And we were like, given everything that's happened, we're here now and we're happy. Given everything, in this very moment, we're happy and literally living our life of magic. We really are. And it's, we're still going to continue to have our challenges. We're still going to be making choices that in hindsight we'll be looking back and think, oh, did we make the right one? But I firmly believe we can only make the right choices that we think at the time, when we have all those resources, and we just have to weigh it up, don't we, as to what's right in that moment. And right now, in this moment, there's always difficult decisions to make or choices to make, but we make them, and we turn out all right. We turn out more than okay, and maybe the universe, God, whatever energy you like to call that, has a plan. And who knows, maybe if I don't know, I sold my flat and went into rented accommodation and I think, I should have kept the flat. But maybe we would have ended up where we are now anyway if I hadn't sold my flat. Or if Will and I hadn't split up, would we be where we are now? That is the multi-dollar pound question, isn't it? Whatever. But you know what I mean? That is the question. It's like, if we'd made different decisions and things, would we be in a different place right now? And who knows? So maybe the universe does have a plan. Maybe it doesn't. And I don't have the answers, and I don't know who would have the answer. But I just know if we keep following our intuition, we weigh up our choices and our decisions, we will find ourselves in the right place at the right time, which is moment by moment. Where I think we always think that there's somewhere to get to, and actually there is nowhere to get to other than to enjoy this moment, this very moment. And it's what's good about your life right now, what's joyful in your life in this moment. And so we've been doing plenty of that this week. There's been lots and lots of reflection, and super grateful for this moment. And I think I talk about that a lot on podcasts, about being grateful in this moment. And even though the weather has been rubbish, hasn't it, it's being grateful for when the sun comes out, and being grateful for the rain because it's watering our plants and, feeding those seeds and watering so we can have vegetables and fruits and stuff. So it's just being grateful for the little things in our lives. So what else did we reflect on this week? We reflected on taking action, that sometimes in life there is a time for reflecting, and then there is time for when we get into action. And it's just, even though we may not feel we have everything we need in order to take some action, sometimes by getting into action actually creates a momentum and actually helps us get to where we need to be by taking the right kind of choices. I'm trying to think. I know, like my podcast, for example. A couple of people suggested to me that I start my podcast back up, but I didn't feel like I had the right equipment. And we'd created a little recording studio under our stairs, and it was now, other stuff was in there, and it was all set up perfectly. And then, of course, 2 or 3 years had gone by, and my laptop that I didn't have anymore. So we couldn't work out how to load all of this. And then there was just these things in the way for me doing it. And then it's like, well, what do you talk about in a podcast? And I didn't know what the theme would be and blah, blah, blah. So what I did, and it's like, can I talk for half an hour? It was just all these things. And I could have really easily not done my podcast. And I could have really just not done it. But that wasn't an option for me. It was like, I have just got to do this because it was suggested that I do it, and I really wanted to do it, but I didn't know what to theme it on. So Alistair had said to me, just do it on your voice record on your phone. He said, just start there. So I just picked it up and just talked for 9 minutes and sent it to him. And he's like, that's good. See if you can do a bit longer. And then I did it another time, and I just felt super awkward and really super conscious of myself, and I was just like, I'm not sure. And then I was walking to work on a Sunday, and I kind of was like getting my inspiration to talk while I was walking. And then I came up with the idea of these Sunday catch-ups as I was walking to work on a Sunday. And I sent them to Alistair. And of course, he's like, yeah, we'll use them. Just keep doing them. And then we weren't publishing them. But of course, he was brilliant because he was encouraging me. But of course, we couldn't publish it while I was walking because the sound wasn't going to be great and everything else. But it actually got me into the rhythm of doing it. And then I was learning, and then I was learning loads while doing it. And then I started to love doing it. And then I realised I really enjoy doing them. And I like that I'm just getting on with my week, and then I can chat about it on Sunday. And that there's always loads of learnings within my week and things that I notice and observe. And then I can chat about them on Sunday. It's great. It's like a little therapy session to the podcast. And I really find people very, very interesting, and I find the themes very interesting. Like, I've talked to a few people about self-care this week, and then that's like, oh, that's a really good theme. And then on the reflection, and that was such a big reflection when we were walking by the sea, that every single twist and turn that's happened has led us to now, and we're in a pretty good place. And so that was like, oh, that's really, if we think about that, that's really awesome, that there just could be this, we're being guided and the universe has a plan for us. And then obviously I got into action with the podcast. That's what I was saying. It was like, I'm getting into action with these podcasts. So I've got into action. So I could have procrastinated and not done them, but I didn't. I just started to do them, and then I learnt, and then I could change. And you'll notice that some of them are like shorter, but then I've been able to expand them as I've gone on. So the very fact is of having the idea and then just doing it, and then being able to reflect and adjust. And I'm sure over the months, I'm going to adjust them even more. But if I hadn't got into action, or I'd got into fear of failure or fear of any, self-doubt or anything, I would never have got started. I just would never have crossed that or got off the start line. So I really think getting into action is really important, and then evaluating, is this working, isn't this working, and getting the feedback, and then being able to adjust. I think that's great. It's just about getting results, isn't it? And then, like, is this working? Is this not working? And then being able to move forward. So I think if there's anything that you're not getting into action for, is there anything holding you back? Is there anything in your mind that you're scared of, or is there anything that you're feeling that you're worried about, that's stopping you and preventing you from getting into action of doing what you really would love to do? Because it's that I just think is so important to do what we love to do, but yet we might be feeling fear, or we might be feeling scared, or we might be feeling worry. But they're only just limitations of the mind, and you can overcome those. And I think just getting into action will help you to overcome those, because you'll know what you'll need to be dealing with. And then journaling. I find writing things down really helped me to see things clearly. And to be honest, I get through notebooks all the time, because I have to write everything down. And that really helps me to see things clearly as well, and helps to keep me on track. So I just think action. I always use the saying, we can only put out our gonks for so long. We can only learn so much before getting into action. All the types of people that will forever learning but not actually doing. They're just learning, and that's fine if that's working for them. But if it's not working because you're fearing that you don't know enough, or you're not good enough, or whatever, then maybe it's time to start taking action. And you know what Stephen Bartlett says, doesn't he? He says failure is for winners. And so many people who lived a life of magic have failed in their life. They have. And it's okay to fail, because it's just about reevaluating. So I think getting into action is really, really important. And so is there anything you need to get into action on? Or is there anything you're already acting on, but you're not evaluating, and maybe what your actions are doing are not actually working for you, but you haven't had the time to take time out to evaluate, is what you're doing working? And if it's not, what changes do you need to make in order to move forward? What changes do you need to make, tweak, in order for you to be feeling joyful again and going back to loving what you were doing? Or has it just become a bit of a chore? So it's just food for thought there, and I'm looking at all areas of my life to do that, and I continually am. I'm right in the middle of doing that. Do you remember that podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I was saying that I was going to clear out a couple of rooms because a lot of clutter, so I'm right in the middle of that at the minute. And I was procrastinating over that because it's going to be hard work, and it is hard work, but it's so rewarding to clear out some stuff, sort it out for charity, sort stuff out for binning, store it, and but it just creates this great space for whatever needs to be filled. So yeah, that's my food for thoughts this week, and I don't think there's been anything else, to be fair. It's obviously Father's Day today. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there, and to fathers who are in heaven and grandfathers, and really super grateful to my dad and love my dad very much, and I miss him, but I do feel him around, and I know he's super proud of me, and I love you, Dad. And for all the dads out there, or the doggy dads out there, I hope you had a good Sunday. And I think that's me done. I think that's a short podcast this week, but I think that is me done. Should we just close our eyes? Taking a deep breath in. All is well right now, in this very moment. All is well. Becoming aware of your tummy as you breathe in and breathe out. You've got this. Today is going to be a great day. And what's one thing that's going really well in your life right now? And a second. And maybe even a third. What's going really great in your life right now? Take good care of yourself. Big hugs. Thanks for listening.